Hello and welcome to Rosie's 9-month update. I'm going to ask some questions and we're going to be answering them. It's actually the same questions that we talked about her 3-month and her 6-month update, so we can kind of follow like our progress, her progress, and like how our answers are progressing. So it's the same exact questions. If you've seen those videos, you know what we're about to do. But yeah, so let's
go for it.
How would you describe her personality?
Loud. Right now she's loud and she wants attention. That's really all it is she just is kind of an attention hog right now. She just wants to make sure that all eyes are on her at all times. She just likes attention.
Mm-hmm. She's very social. She's always been really good with people, with strangers. It doesn't really matter who's holding her. If she just met that person, if that person is old, young, male, female, it doesn't really matter. She just does really well with them. She really enjoys the attention. She usually is pretty laid back. Like during her therapy and stuff, she'll let us kind of do whatever we need to do, and she's pretty cooperative, which is awesome. And yeah, she although she likes attention, it's not like she's at that stage yet where she's like demanding that we do certain things with her. Like she'll just be happy if we're just holding her and looking at her. So while it's sometimes frustrating, it's definitely really sweet. What is your favorite thing she does?
So there are two things. I know it used to be when she yawns, and it's kind of a similar thing now, where she kind of talks quietly.
Mm-hmm. It's like, and she's like,
yeah, I love that. That's great. And then the other thing is sometimes if we're trying to get her to stand up and like bear weight on her legs, it's like she has her entire torso forward, but she throws her arms back and her legs are kind of back, and she just...
Yeah.
I don't know why she does it, but it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, she's trying to like balance, but yeah. I would say my favorite thing she does, she's really started to like explore things with her hands more. Like she has more control of her hands, and so she'll like, if we're holding her, sometimes she'll just like touch me on like my face and her little baby hands. It's so cute. I love it. I'm obsessed. Is she a good sleeper?
Yes, but I don't think as good as she used to be.
No. Well, she is teething now. So honestly, we may have even talked about this during her 6-month update, because she's been teething for like 3 or 4 months now. Like legitimately. She still does not have any teeth. But you can like see them coming up through the gums. You've been able to see it the whole time. So her teeth are going extremely slow. And I think it's just really hindering her sleeping. Like she just wakes up a little bit more often, but she still sleeps some nights she'll still sleep for like 9 or 10 hours.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that long, but 8 or 9.
Over the past couple of weeks, I've noticed 8:15 almost on the dot every single day she'll wake up.
And that's going to bed between like 10 and 11.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if she goes to bed at 10 or 11. That's usually when we hear her wake up.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, she still sleeps really great compared to other babies, just not as good as she used to. Naps are still always harder than her sleeping at night. She has started sleeping in bed with us. It used to just be like to get her to sleep, but now honestly, it'll be like for hours at a time, and then we'll like wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll like kick him and he has to like take her to her own bed. So yeah, she's a pretty good sleeper. I give her like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, 10.
Who is she most like between the two of us?
I think she's starting to be a little more like you.
More talkative.
More talkative.
I was a very talkative baby. I talked early. Even when I didn't know words, I used baby talk constantly. And she's very much like that. But I still think she kind of has like that laid back demeanor like you have.
Yeah.
So.
But beforehand, like it was like an obvious answer, I think, but now she's starting to get more like
her own person.
Her own person.
Yeah, she's very interested in reading and music, which we both really enjoy reading and we both really enjoy music. But I think those two things you probably like better than I do. So I don't know, I guess we could technically say she gets that from him. If you can hear her in the background, she's supposed to be taking a nap. I can literally hear her from here just going, ah. But she's okay. What are some things Rosalia loves to do?
She still loves to read. She really likes baths. Well, yes, baths, but just water in general. When we went on our Disney trip, we took her to the pool, and she just had a blast. She loved every second of it.
She loves things that make noise, which kind of goes hand in hand with the music. And she loves being able to like splash in the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of things that she plays with, if they don't make sound, she tries to make them make sound. I think she thinks everything is a rattle, so she'll like shake them around and try and see if they make sound. That's something she enjoys a lot.
Oh, I was gonna say, she does still love reading, but actually in the past few months she got her glasses, and we can put a little picture or video or something of her wearing her glasses. Yeah, it's really adorable, but I've noticed she's become even more engaged in reading since she got them. She tries to like, because she couldn't see close up before very well, so now she kind of like leans in and tries to grab the book and stuff, and it's just really, really adorable. So what nicknames do you use for her?
That is true. I do. I call her Rosie Poo, Honey Poo.
Like literally anything. If she's tired, Sleepy Poo. If she's hungry, Hungry Poo. Literally everything.
Yeah, that is true.
For me, it's still very much the same as last time. I still call her Peanut all the time. I don't know. I mean, I started calling her Ro Ro. Just kind of like jokingly. I'm just like, hey, Ro Ro. But it always like gets her attention. She's like, what? What did you call me? So that's really funny. How far has she come developmentally up to this point?
I personally have noticed a lot of things that we were working on that she started to do. Mm-hmm. Especially like pushing herself up and, you know, reaching for things. Like she'll be sitting down and there's something she wants, which even I think a month ago she wouldn't do. She'll reach all the way forward, grab it, and then go back into her sitting position, which...
Well, she would definitely try, but she's able to completely do the motion on her own now, which is a big step for her. Yeah. And I've seen her be able to like sit up more, so we always like kind of put her in like the cracks of the couch, like kind of in between two of the cushions, so she has a little bit of support. And I've seen like she kind of like will come forward from the cushions and just kind of like sit up on her own and not lean back against the couch so much. And I started to notice that, and then I started to notice that when we would sit her on the floor, she could like actually just sit on her own, like not with her hands on the floor or any support, just like sitting up, legs out in front, just sitting. And she can sit like that for, I don't know, I mean about, I mean, she can do it longer, because there was one time I literally counted to like 25 or something when she did it, but she doesn't do that consistently. So she is able to sit now. She's not able to get up into sitting position though, so as soon as she falls over, we have to help her again. So it's not quite independent yet, but she's definitely taking those steps. She's definitely starting the process of learning to crawl. When we help her like push her arms straight up, she starts tucking her legs under. She will like kick her legs when they're straight out behind her and stuff. So she's definitely starting that process as well, but she's definitely not there yet. She can't say any words, although she does a lot of baby talk, and she will talk a lot, just making sounds constantly, but she can't say any words. Although I have noticed that she started to recognize words that we're saying more often. So she loves when we like pick her up in the air and like help her jump. And she's gotten to the point where if we say, do you want to jump? She often will make cues that she understands what that word means, and she's excited for it. There's some other words too that I've noticed she kind of understands a little bit. But that's kind of like the best example I have. So that's that kind of sums up a lot of that. What is the hardest thing about parenting her?
Honestly, it's those times where you get kind of frustrated because she's being really loud right now, and maybe like we're trying to do something, or if we're in a car, a very small car, and we're trying to calm her down, and
she's like giving me headaches.
Yeah.
Because of how loud she is.
Yeah, and I'm glad that she's being vocal and testing all that out, but you know, it is, you know, it's just part of parenting that sometimes it's hard to just kind of be patient and not get frustrated that, you know, she's giving us earaches.
Yeah, and that kind of goes with her just really wanting our attention, which I would say is like just another side of like that aspect of it, of her really wanting attention all the time, and obviously we can't give it to her all the time. So that can be a little bit frustrating, but honestly, I think this is the easiest stage we've been in so far, for me at least. I know like in the first 3 months, you know, she was very needy, like needing to eat constantly and needing to be rocked to sleep constantly and pooping constantly. Like it was just like, you know, she was very needy, which all newborns are, and that's completely fine, but that just took a lot of energy for me. And then also I was healing from being pregnant and postpartum, and you know, so it was like a lot of things were really difficult. And then the next 3 months, I think, were just like she was doing so much developmentally and like trying to figure out how to be a person, and I think that was just like caused her a lot of like frustration, and she took that out on us. And I feel like the past 3 months have been the most rewarding so far. Like she's starting to finally meet her goals. We're not worried about her. Like we don't see her as like this fragile little thing anymore, so I don't worry as much. She started to be able to do some more things independently, which is obviously like just kind of one less thing that we have to do for her. So I feel like we're really starting to enter that stage where I feel like it's almost like more of like a mutual bond. I don't know how to explain it. I just know like this has been the most rewarding 3 months for me. Would you agree with that, or do you actually have a different opinion?
I think the beginning of these 3 months, and also kind of near the end of the last, like around her 6 months. Yeah, right around her 6 months was probably the easiest in my opinion, because that's when she slept the best. That's when she discovered she has a little turtle gym that has like these little fish that dangle down that she can play with, and that's when she really started to discover that. And so we could put her in that for hours, and she would just play with it the whole time. So kind of around there is when I think it was the easiest.
And then the last question, how is it different when your baby has Down syndrome? So like what things is she going through right now because she has Down syndrome that are different?
A couple things that I think I've noticed. For one, all the different kinds of appointments that she still has, you know, outside of her general pediatric checkups, she still has, you know, cardiology, eye appointments, a lot of specialists that she still has to see, her physical therapist, occupational therapy, all this stuff that...
Which she's starting occupational therapy today.
She
was supposed to start it sooner, but we got sick.
Yeah. So that's definitely something that, you know, I think is different. And I personally am also starting to notice, you know, the little bit of slower development, because there are a few people around us that have babies around the same age, and they'll say, oh, well, they just did this and they just did that.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to notice more like, oh, okay, well, Rosie's not there yet.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. It's just something to notice.
And I think like as parents, it's kind of hard to not play the comparison game a little bit. Not that we ever think less of Rosie, but I think sometimes we almost like are harder on ourselves because we're like, oh, like we're not doing enough to help her get there, which really, when we stop and think about it, we understand isn't true. But I would say, yeah, that this is the first time I've really noticed her being maybe behind developmentally, and even that is such a relative thing. I mean, there's a lot of kids that are 9 months old that can't talk at all. I mean, there's kids that are almost 2 and really can't speak very clearly. There's kids that are even older than that that can barely say anything, you know, so in comparison to those kids, you know, she's on par. And the same thing, there's some kids that take a long time to really physically develop. But usually you find, or at least like I found when talking to other parents, it's kind of one or the other. They either are like a quick talker and a slow physical development, or vice versa. And she is kind of slow at both, which is, I think, a little bit different. But obviously, I mean, she's going to just do things at her own pace, and that's completely fine. But yeah, this is definitely the first time that I've noticed an obvious difference.
And one thing I will say, I thought about this the other day actually, that you know, even though we are starting to notice her be a little bit slower developmentally, personally, you know, I hear all the people say that, you know, everything goes by so fast with your kids, and like one day you wake up and they're just, you know, old. And it's almost in a way kind of nice for us, because we get a little more time with each stage. Can you give us 20 minutes?
That was not even a nap. You literally were asleep for 3 minutes.
Barely a nap.
Yeah, do you see that bright light?
The bright light.
Yeah. We're finishing up, okay? You're just going to sit there and be good. Yeah. Okay. That side eye she does. Like,
I was just saying that it's, you know, it's like we get a little more time as she's figuring out things to enjoy that stage of her development with her, and have more memories of, oh, you remember when she used to do this and she used to do that. Like, it's, in that way, it's nice to like savor the moments.
And honestly, what's the most important is just that she's like continuing to make progress, and that's what like our therapists try to remind us of, is just that as long as she's making progress and it's like consistent, steady progress, they're not really worried about her, so we're not worried either. Yeah, obviously we still have appointments and stuff. To be honest, we're kind of getting used to that, and we definitely have a lot less than we used to. The first 3 months you have a ton of appointments, and then around that 6-month mark you have a ton of appointments, and so we're kind of at that point again where we aren't really having a lot, which is nice. I would say kind of just things that we've already talked about. Like, I think her personality is probably one of the biggest differences. And it's definitely more of a positive than a negative, because she is just very happy and laid back and sweet and content. Aren't you?
What do you want to say, Rosie?
Okay, well, I think we'll wrap it up there then. That's all the questions I had, and that's all we really had to say. But yeah, that's her 9-month update. I can't believe that she's already 9 months. Such a big girl. I'm glad she was able to make an appearance.
Cameo.
But actually, we are going to start filming a 9-month play with me as well this weekend, so you'll be able to see her a lot more in that video, and be able to see a lot of the things that we've talked about in this video, so that will be really exciting. So thank you guys so much for clicking on this video, for supporting this channel. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see what other videos we're going to get up to. And yeah, so thank you so much, and we'll see you guys then.